high temperature. Consider getting a sauna treatment whenever you feel completely worn out or exhausted, or if you need to release tension from your muscles. Sauna treatments are especially good as distressing treatments. The use of oils such as eucalyptus oil is very helpful in helping to soothe and ease the muscles. In this case, this is called aromatherapy. Blood pressure drops as the surface capillaries and vessels widen up, causing more blood supply around the body. When these treatments are carried out in conjunction with other health measures, it is possible to heal and treat certain conditions under directions from your doctor. This has been a most invigorating therapy. When you're in the sauna, you sweat it all out. All the toxins in your body are released, and the touch of eucalyptus oil makes it all the more refreshing. This has been Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge.
Seated there, not knowing you are the newest millionaire in town. There are billions of unclaimed financial assets held by the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority in the form of security deposits, shares, long-forgotten bank savings, pension money, among others, that are waiting for the rightful owners to claim them. And you might be one of them. To learn more, visit the 3-day UFAA Reunification Clinic from 16th to 18th December 2021 at the Savo Ballroom, KICC. Labda umeomoka na haujui. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
My name is Muhammad Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight, the Omicron variant has been detected in Kenya, which means you need to take more care and ensure you adhere to the protocols issued by the Ministry of Health. But of course, the questions on people's minds is if the government will adjust the containment measures and probably bring back curfew or not. And the truth is, the ministry says no just yet. It is your behavior that will determine that. We have details lined up for you tonight, including the skirmishes and the chaos in Kiambu County Assembly. Tonight, we speak to the leader of majority in the Kiambu County Assembly. That is Gashara Gideon, who is the leader of majority, or he is not, according to the Jubilee Party. We have those details lined up for you and that interview coming up in this bulletin. But first things first, the highlights. The war on COVID-19. Kenya confirms 3 cases of the Omicron variant, but won't rush into locking down the country.
Tutaweza kuongeza huu mradi kuhakikisha ya kwamba kila askari anaishi kwa nyumba ambaye inafaa na anaishi katika kambi ya jeshi.
Quest for decent living. The government to construct over 3,000 new housing units for the Kenya Defence Forces. And police launch investigations into an alleged sexual assault on a 41-year-old man in Githiagara, Muthithi Ward, Murang'a County. Welcome to this broadcast. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. And of course, Safina Cheng is not with us, but she will be joining us on Sunday. Now, to kick us off, the government will not rush to introduce stricter measures against COVID-19 following the discovery of 3 cases of the Omicron variant in the country. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, however, says Kenya is currently engaging South Africa and countries where the variant is spreading very fast on how to contain it. 3 travelers who arrived into the country from South Africa tested positive for the variant, have been placed under isolation. As Janae Karisa now kicks off our bulletin with a story.
2 Kenyans and a South African have tested positive for the Omicron variant upon their arrival at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport from South Africa.
We have a lot of other samples that we are sequencing. So in the next 2 days, I will be able to confirm the spread or otherwise of the Omicron variant in the country.
The 3 have since been put under quarantine as health officials heighten surveillance.
So far, the hospitalization cases that we have in our country are still Delta. We have not detected any Omicron variants in our hospitals.
Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says lockdown is not an immediate option, but the government is consulting on how to deal with the possible spread of the variant.
The Omicron variant is likely to be the dominant variant, not just in our country, but across the world. And we are happy that the management of the variant globally is now being handled in a better way. We are not announcing a lockdown. We are not announcing curfew hours. This is something we are observing, and in the next 2-3 days, we will be able to tell the country whether it is necessary for us to go back to some of those measures.
Kagwe has urged counties to ready COVID-19 isolation facilities to contain the disease.
We are not forcing anybody to be vaccinated. However, we must recognize that internationally, there are mitigating measures that have got to be followed.
We are ready. We are confirming that our oxygen plants are functional and the ICU beds are ready.
Kagwe says that though the Omicron variant has a high infection rate, the only saving grace is that a lot of people are not getting severe illnesses.
I can predict that it's a matter of time before there is a wider spread of this virus in the country. The question is whether it will spread amongst people who have been vaccinated, in which case it can easily be contained, or whether it will spread amongst people who have not been vaccinated, in which case we are going to have high levels of hospital occupancy.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County for the Prime Edition.
We continue to keep tabs on the COVID-19 situation in the country, and Kenya has recorded 799 COVID-19 positive cases from a sample size of 7,529 tested in the last 24 hours. This is the highest figure since the government relaxed the COVID-19 enforcement measures on Mashijadi. The positivity rate now stands at 10.6%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 257,614. One patient has succumbed to the disease, which according to the Ministry of Health was a late death reported after conducting a facility record audit in the month of December 2021. The cumulative fatalities now stand at 5,350. As of December 14th, 2021, a total of 8.3 million people had been vaccinated across the country. Globally, data from the Johns Hopkins University shows more than 27.1 million people have been infected and over 5.3 million have died, and more than 8.5 trillion vaccines have been administered globally. And now the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF's members are set to benefit from over 3,000 housing units through a public-private partnership arrangement at a cost of 5.3 billion shillings. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the proposed residential accommodation at the Roysambu military camp in Nairobi, President Uhuru Kenyatta said the project will go a long way in providing decent housing to the soldiers and their families.
With the Kenya Defence Forces KDF facing a shortfall of 45,000 housing units for its service personnel, the Ministry of Defence intends to construct at least 3,069 housing units in the first phase. During a groundbreaking, President Uhuru Kenyatta said the project is to be executed within 2 years starting from December 2021.
Ni mwanzo. Na tukiona na mimi sina shaka ya kwamba huu mradi utatekelezwa kulingana na vile mipango ilivyo. Kwa muda mchache sana tutaweza kuongeza huu mradi kuhakikisha ya kwamba kila askari anaishi kwa nyumba ambaye inafaa na anaishi katika kambi ya jeshi kulingana na matakwa ya kisheria vile inatakikana.
The president said the housing units will be distributed in 5 regions: Nairobi, Nanyuki, Lanet, Gilgil and Nyali barracks. Construction at all the 5 sites are scheduled to run concurrently, with Roysambu site expected to be completed in June 2022.
Kwa hivyo sisi tutaendelea kufanya lolote ambalo tutaweza kuwasaidia kutekeleza jukumu lenu na pia kuchunga welfare yenu, kuimprove equipment yenu, ndio nyinyi pia muweze kutekeleza hiyo shughuli ya kulinda wananchi na kulinda taifa letu la Kenya, mkijua ya kwamba familia zenu zimeishi na inachungwa kwa njia ambayo inatakikana.
According to the Ministry of Defence, the project entails the construction of married quarters in form of 3 and 2 bedroom houses and single quarters.
This is in line with your Big Four agenda and particularly, Your Excellency, the housing pillar. I'm very, very pleased that MOD will be contributing towards the realization of the Big Four and particularly the housing pillar through this project.
We've had the intention to build houses mainly to get the soldiers living in one area, principally because it is important for them to be in one area for ease of mobilization. And this dream, Your Excellency, has come true.
The project, once completed, shall accommodate 980 families in addition to providing single accommodation to 2,089 service members in line with the government's Big Four agenda of affordable housing. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
There's some very sad story here coming from county number 21. Police have begun investigations into an incident in which a 41-year-old man was sodomized on his way home in Gathiagara, Modhithi Ward in Murang'a County. The victim claims he was hit on the head with a blunt object by 4 young men who dragged him to a secluded area and committed the despicable act in turns. 2 suspects are in police custody as the search for 2 others intensifies.
This 41-year-old man is nursing both physical and emotional pain. the aftermath of what he went through a week ago on Monday night while on his way home from Kahedu Shopping Center, Kigumo, Murang'a, after an evening of drinking spree with friends is quite evident.
Na mimi naomba hii watu wameshikwa na wale wamefanya hiyo kitendo washukuliwe hatua kali.
The man claims to have been accosted by 4 young men who roughed him up before sodomizing him. He was later discovered by passers-by who took him home where he gained consciousness 3 days after the incidents.
Ilikuwa Monday, nilikuwa nikienda nyumbani, nikiwa karibu na nyumbani akanigonga na pete, nikaanguka. Mimi nilianguka, na nikianguka nikashindwa na kuamuka.
He would later be taken to the Maragua Level 5 hospital for treatment by Good Samaritans, where he was treated and discharged.
Sasa kumpeleka kwa daktari, alienda akapimwa, nikapimwa mara 3, kisha kupimwa mara 3, tukaelezewa turudi na juu ilikuwa Friday, tukaelezewa turudishe Monday.
Following the beastly incident, 2 suspects, Bernard Kamande, 25, and Eric Kimani, 21, who were positively identified by the victim, have been arrested and booked at Muthidi police station as the search for 2 other suspects intensify. The beastly act has left the residents in great shock.
Kulingana na vile iko kitendo kama hicho, haijawahi sikikana huku ama kuonekana. Kwa hivyo ni kitu imesagaza watu wengi.
Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Now, Deputy President William Ruto has intensified his efforts to woo the Western region, urging the One Kenya Alliance principals from the region to back him for the country's top job. Ruto, who hit out at Mount Kenya Foundation for endorsing Raila Odinga, said the era where a few decide on who will lead the country is over, calling upon the Oka principals to join him in forming what he termed as a formidable coalition.
Deputy President William Ruto has renewed his efforts to woo the vote-rich Western region. This time around going for the region's kingpins. Ruto, who is on a 2-day tour in the region, urging Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula to join forces with his United Democratic Movement, a vehicle he says will deliver a win in the 2022 elections. According to the DP, the 2 presidential hopefuls were taken for a ride in the recent vetting by the Mount Kenya Foundation that endorsed Odinga for the presidency.
Ati walipeleka Musalia hapa ati kwenda kumfanyia interview. Alafu hata hawakumuita hata kumwambia majibu ilitokea namna gani. Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa hapa Butali, mnataka Musalia afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na mimi? Afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na hasla? Afanye na hasla. Hebu nione wale wanasema afanye na hasla, afanye na hasla, afanye na hasla.
The DP and his lieutenants further urging Kenyans to resist attempts by some individuals to divide them along party lines so as to achieve their selfish interests.
Ndio mimi nimekuja hapa kwa unyenyekevu, jameni, tujipange kwa chama ya mahasla wote. Hiyo ya kazi ni nini? Tuko pamoja, tutaungana. Kwa chama ya kazi ni kazi. Hiyo ya kuunganisha wa Kenya.
Echoing the DP's sentiments, area leaders led by John Waluke termed the Democratic Action Party as a scheme aimed at destabilizing the Amani National Congress and the Ford Party of Kenya.
Hiyo chama imeundwa kupigana na Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi ama namna gani? Sisi tunakaribisha Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi kwa chama yetu ya UDA. Yule mzee ameshajua Western Province imemtoka. Sasa ile ukora wanafanya ni kutumia mzaa tuoni kupatia Eugene Wamalwa pesa kidogo hapa, ataform chama akuja tugawanye sisi. Mimi naambia mami Musalia na Wetangula, huyo mtu amewatumia vibaya, muondoke hapo. Ile idea ambayo mko nayo mzuri mulete, tuunganishe na idea ya bottom up ya William Ruto, tuunde serikali. Watu ya mkoa wa Magharibi, kaeni pamoja ndio tufaulu. na kama tutagawanyika kwa chama hii na chama ile na chama ile ya ukabila, hatutafaulu.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Kenyan women are being urged to demand greater involvement in the country's politics. A section of female leaders say women will not settle for less and will challenge all male presidential hopefuls to nominate women in the running mate, in the running mate position in the upcoming elections.
The Maendeleo ya Wanawake Annual General Meeting has provided a platform for women in leadership to seek to redefine the place of women in Kenya's politics.
Tunaenda siasa, na hiyo siasa si ya mchezo. Vijana wanasema wataki historia, sisi tunasema historia inakufundisha mahali pa kuenda. Kwa hivyo tunaomba sana, na hakuna siku hata kwako nyumbani uwezi kafagia historia.
Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu charging the Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization to maximize on its membership and push the women agenda in the next general elections.
They can say our 4 million members will vote for this particular candidate, and for that reason they can get what they want.
Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu says the time is right for a female deputy president.
1 as a running mate and 2 in their parties, political parties. If really I was given that opportunity and on behalf of women, I would love to take it. I would love to.
But even as women pushed their agenda, calls for the empowerment of boys also reverberated.
We got into this thing of empowering the girl by putting off the man, putting off the boy. Now we have a situation like the one I've just described. The girls that are so empowered want wives, husbands, but they can't find those husbands. Unless something drastic is done, the man that we have known for a very long time is going to become extinct.
Adapt the affirmative action model, because it is affirmative action, the extra weight put on a section in society at a certain time to help them move from one place to another. We have explained to men for years, affirmative action doesn't mean free things.
Tuko na shinda kama nchi. We hear the cry of our boy child. We do. And therefore the need to have brought the bishop. We start this positive masculinity. We are going to be doing programs countrywide. So even as we talk about political empowerment, we realize kuna pahali values tumeacha kwa nchi hii.
Bishop David Oginde argues that the buck stops with women in the creation of safe spaces for both genders. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
And now to news that are reprieve to the DCI boss George Kinoti. The Court of Appeal has suspended the warrant of arrest issued against the DCI, George Kinoti, by the High Court on Tuesday, pending a ruling and an application he filed contesting his 4 months jail term. A 3-judge bench consisting of Justice Fatuma Sichale, Mogoli Msaga and Kibaya Laibuta said Kinoti is free pending the ruling of his case on 1st of April 2022.
DCI boss George Kinoti will not serve his 4-month prison sentence in committee after all. The Court of Appeal has temporarily quashed the Tuesday High Court warrant of arrest against Kinoti. The DCI boss got a relief after the appellate court on the contempt of court charges is facing at the High Court. The Court of Appeal saying it will make its pronouncement on the appeal by Kinoti contesting his 4-month term on the 1st of April 2022. The Office of the Attorney General insisting that the DCI was not in possession of the said firearms upon which the ruling sentencing Kinoti was based.
Why will Kinoti be called back as somebody who has been sentenced to explain himself? So to us, and that's what you are reading, that it is an ambiguous order, it is an ambiguous arrest warrant, because it is not possible, legally possible, a convict to come from committee. If Kinoti was in committee, could he come to explain?
Elsewhere, the fourth accused person in the murder of lawyer Wile Kimani and his client has concluded his testimony. Leonard Mwangi asked for his mobile phone back, which he claims has evidence connected to the case. Justice J.C. Lesit directed the prosecution to deduce the phone on the 16th of December, when the hearing will continue. Finally, 8 more witnesses are scheduled to testify in the graft case facing Embakasi North Member of Parliament James Gakuya. The Member of Parliament was charged in 2018 alongside 4 other people with several counts of fraud in relation to the misappropriation of 40 million shillings CDF kitty. The case will be heard in May 2022. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Serafina Robi's story takes us to First Breather on Prime Edition. But of course, when we come back, we tell you about what has been happening in Kiambu County for the last 1 month. The chaos between 14 members of the County Assembly and the Speaker, and also Caroline Jenga and Karen Kibet. We'll be coming up with business and sports. Don't go too far.
Nilipoanza kuonyesha watu wangu wale beberu ambao walikuwa wanatusaidisha katika mambo ya kijeshi, wakanambia, mzee, hawa watu bure tu, sababu mimi nilikuwa napeleka watu wa hewani na watu wa ami, na wao wakaanza kusema hawa vijana hawawezi mambo haya.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. We head straight to Kiambu County, where 14 members of the Kiambu County Assembly have petitioned the Office of a Controller of Budget to stop any appropriation of monies to the Assembly until the Speaker confirms the rightful holder of a position of County Assembly Clerk. The 14 who were suspended early this month after orchestrating chaos that led to the suspension of sittings in the Assembly have accused Speaker Stephen Dichu of unlawfully appointing County Clerk Simon Rugu. It's been weeks of protracted wars in the Kiambu County Assembly, pitting Speaker Stephen Dichu and 14 rebel MCAs who have accused him of unilaterally and unlawfully appointing the County Assembly Clerk. Even after the intervention of a Jubilee party to end the wars, the flexing of muscles went a notch higher on Wednesday after the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, wrote to the Speaker, giving him up to Friday to confirm the lawfully appointed clerk. Nyakango wrote the letter in response to a petition filed by the 14 MCAs asking her to freeze County Assembly expenditures.
The clerk of this assembly is none other than John Motive Mutie, who was gazetted, who was interviewed. But also we have an imposter by the name of Simon Rugu, who has never been vetted. The County Government Act, Section 13, states very clearly that there shall be a clerk of the County Assembly who will be appointed by the board and approved by the Assembly.
All the 14 MCAs who were suspended by the Speaker early this month have since been temporarily allowed back into the Assembly by the High Court. Last week, the Jubilee Party replaced 3 key officials in the Kiambu County Assembly leadership as punishment for the disruption. The 3, Leader of Majority Gideon Gashara, Chief Whip Simon Karema and Deputy Majority Party Leader Anne Wanjiku, were replaced with Elijah Njoroge as the new Leader of Majority, Peter Kioi, the Majority Chief Whip, and Cecilia Njuguna as the Deputy Majority Party Leader.
How can you overspend that which is in the budget. But he's doing that with the help of the purported crack who is here.
That the members will come and negotiate and apologize to the county assembly and the speaker and the board, where if they don't do so, we are also going to go to court. The assembly is going to go to court to contest the same, because you cannot be suspended over violence, then you'll be given access to come continue with your violence.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya usiogope kumaliza mwaka, bonyeza *811*758#.
Hebu tafakari haya. Mpemba haogopi mvua ndogo, msasi haogopi mwiba, mshoni haogopi sindano. Uoga huleta hofu, uoga huzuia ufanisi, uoga hulemaza safari, safari ya ujasiri, safari ya ufanisi, safari ya...
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya usiogope kumaliza mwaka, bonyeza *811*758#, *811*758#.
Kama kuna msaliti kati yetu, nitamjua tu.
Na tutazidi kuchelewa kama itakuwa hatuna uaminifu kati yetu. Bibi,
unaongea kuhusu nini? Wajua spendi kushambuliwa namna hiyo.
Mom, let me tell you, you will not succeed.
I already have. Badi nitamleta mimi mwenyewe.
Umepaniki bure tu.
I am very confused right now.
And you saw the drama in the county assembly of Kiambu in that story we were running. And right about now I'm joined by Gideon Gashara, the majority leader in the county assembly. But the question is, after Jubilee instituted the changes to the leadership in the county assembly, are you still the majority leader?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am still the majority leader.
All right.
Because after we were purportedly ejected from the office, we were able to get a court order, which was even served yesterday. And today we made entry to the premises of the county assembly.
All right.
And we resumed our position. And now you are talking to the real majority leader of Kiambu County Assembly.
All right. Is the orders of the court, and of course you can guide us because you're the ones who got this order, were it to the extent that the suspension by the speaker of you people, 14 of you, from the assembly, or did it also extend to the positions you were occupying previously?
Let me say this. When the process is bad, the product is also bad.
Okay.
The speaker suspended the assembly, and the drama which ensued happened after the suspension. And nobody, and I say nobody, can really suspend you when you are not in session, when you are not in plenary. The majority leader is the one who is supposed to write to the speaker to convene for a special sitting. In this case, I was not consulted, and I never wrote to the speaker to convene for the special special sitting. Furthermore, the business which should be carried in a special sitting is well enshrined in our standing order, that is number 40 and number 82. And whatever was conducted is not within in that. So when the court order, revoked what happened, of course now it revoked in totality.
All right. I had your successor, the MCA for Biashara Ward in Ruiru, saying there was something you did to the board or something. Is it possible then you are suspended under the clause of probably the Rules and Procedures Committee? Do you even have such a committee in the assembly?
We do.
Okay.
And I don't have a successor. What we're having, what we're having in the assembly is a head boy. In fact, people are joking. how can you be appointed as a head boy in the third term? You know, the head of the third term. It's quite, funny. But you see, if somebody feel aggrieved and if a mistake is done within the precinct of the assembly, we have what we call the privilege committee.
The powers and privileges committee.
The powers and the privilege committee. The committee should sit down, hear your case and make a recommendation which should be discussed in the assembly. In this case, I have not sat, or even the 14 member, we've not been invited, to sit in such committee. And the report has not even tabled in the county assembly. So these are just mere theatrics which are being done by the speaker. And it is quite unfortunate because he's doing this to hoodwink people and, try to hide the illegal, dealings which he has been doing in the assembly.
Tell us a bit about those, the purported or the alleged illegal dealings that I'm talking about. What exactly is your problem with Speaker Stephen Dichu and this Simon Rugu, who is the county clerk?
He is actually an imposter because there's quite much which has been done by the speaker. And to bring you to the speed, is that since we were elected, we've been having 4 cracks. We started with
and you have pictures of what was happening in the assembly.
Yeah, we started with John Motier. He was illegally seconded to the executive arm of the government. There came Joseph Igogo, who is an employee of the National Assembly. He was also ejected after a year. There came John Dirango. He was also ejected after a year. Rogo came. And after that is when now the secondment, erupted. And now Motier was supposed to resume to his position. But now he was denied, entry to his position. And County Government Act, Section 13, state clearly that there should be a clerk of the County Assembly who should be appointed by the board and approved by the County Assembly. We have not approved anybody. And we have not, the board in our regime has not appointed anybody. So the person who is duly, gazetted is John Motier. And why Disho is doing this is because, Motier refused to, fall to his game of embezzlement. So he was a bit strict, and this is why, Speaker is not allowing Motier to come back. But now, he is able to do that.
Does he have the powers to refuse Motier to come back?
He doesn't have powers. He doesn't have powers. And that is why we are using all means. In fact, I have written to the Controller of Budget. And the Controller of Budget has also responded, requesting Disho to reply by 17th, which is on Friday.
On Friday. That detail was captured in our story that we ran tonight. The response by Margaret Nyakango, the Controller of Budget. But I'm just thinking, there's an escalation, Majority Leader. There's an escalation. That would paralyze operations of the County Assembly if by Friday Speaker Stephen Dichu doesn't communicate to the Controller of Budget.
We have to do things regally. Remember, an assembly is a creation of statutes. And we have to follow the law to the letter. Even if it's going to paralyze the assembly, we have to do things legally. But if he doesn't respond by 17th, on Monday, I'll seek the court interpretation so that it can allow Motier to come back, so that members do not suffer. Because what is by the look of all happenings, it is possible that member will not enjoy their Christmas properly. They will not have some money.
What are those chains about? They're chains with that one. What are those chains about?
To say the truth is that, the day we were there, it is after the speaker suspended the assembly. And we found the chains in his office. So I think he was, he wanted even to rock the assembly, with the chains. So what we did, we just removed the chains, myself and my whip. We just removed the chains from his office. So we, it's not normal for an office to have chains. That is why we asked, and after we asked, he drew a gun, on us. But we were.
Yeah, there were reports that he drew a gun on you.
No, he did. He did, and that's quite criminal. That's quite criminal. Among many other criminal activities he has done. The number plate he is using on his vehicle is not a legit number plate.
Tell me something. Listening to Elijah Njoroge, the said majority leader of the county assembly, at least according to your party, the Jubilee Party, I heard him say they're also going to go to court because they can't imagine a situation where you have done what you did, allegedly causing chaos in the assembly, leading to the suspension of sittings, and then be allowed to come back just like that. They think there should be some disciplinary action taken against you before you're allowed into the assembly.
You know, this country is governed by the rule of law. If you agree, you can go to court, and he is free, just like any other person, to go to the court. Let us meet in the court.
Let us meet in the court.
Yes. Some
time ago, you were a darling of your party. You remember when you spearheaded the impeachment of former Governor Ferdinand? So you were darling of your party. What would you tell your party now? That
not at all. Yeah. Actually, I know I was elected, as the majority during that clamor for change. But I can tell you for sure, we've never been close to Tuju. He has never supported, me as the majority leader.
So you were never darling to your
party? Actually, he has been looking for this opportunity. That is why, even as the party, they have not accorded me a chance to defend myself.
Why has he been looking for that opportunity, this opportunity?
Because we had an encounter, and you see, me, I'm a straightforward person. And I witnessed, whatever was going on during that, clamor for change. And I noted a lot of underdealings, And even now, I can tell you for sure there is a lot of underhand dealings, which I don't support.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about underhand dealings, because there are those who say you are an appendage of Governor James Nyoro, yourself and the 14 MCAs, and probably why you are on opposite sides with Speaker Stephen Dicho is because you report to Governor Nyoro.
Can I tell you something? Okay. I was even elected before the Governor Nyoro assumed the office. So I assumed the office before he assumed his. But my role as a leader of government business is to prosecute all the businesses, and I am proud to report that under my tenure, no single business, I have not lost any motion, government motion. But again, sometime back, about 2-3 weeks ago, Speaker Disho declared, and it is in public domain, a war between assembly and governor. But I also demystified that. I said, if there is a problem, it is between Nyoro and Disho, not the assembly.
All right.
But because he wanted, to use the assembly as his shield, I refused, and that is why you can see he's not happy with me.
All right.
I'm not the type of person who is, manipulated by anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we wind up, Majority Leader, very quickly, in terms of moving forward, because this is a crisis, if the controller of budget heeds to your request, it paralyzes the operations of the county assembly in one way or another. If it extends then to January, when you guys resume from recess.
Actually, February.
February, when you resume from recess, it means then even the operations of the county government, to an extent, have been paralyzed. How do you end this stalemate?
The solution is there. Bring back the legitimate clerk of the county assembly.
Who is Mutie?
Who is Mutie?
According to you?
Yeah. It is as simple as that. He has not been sacked.
All right.
Bring back John Mutie.
Okay.
And you had the stalemate.
All right.
Yes.
Majority Leader in the Kiambu County Assembly, obviously under a court order. He has been the Majority Leader, and courtesy of a court order they were given, resumes as Majority Leader, speaking to us about the crisis in Kiambu County. And one can only hope, particularly for the residents of Kiambu, that this crisis ends. And according to the insistence of Gashara, is that Mutie must come back and Rugu must go. That's it?
Sure.
That's how we conclude Extra Mile tonight. Caroline Janga is up next with business.
Now, from politics to business. Now, let's take a look at what has been making headlines in the world of business. My name is Caroline Jenger. Now, the government will add more services to the e-citizen platform to improve service delivery and transparency. President Uhuru Kenyatta has said e-citizen promotes open governance by enhancing citizen participation in government processes. Speaking during the Open Government Partnership Global Summit, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said the electronic system has made government services cheaper, more inclusive, transparent, and efficient.
Launched in 2014, the electronic citizen platform provides access to a wide range of services, including business registration, filing of taxes, processing births, marriages, and death certificates, among others. The platform has been hailed globally by bringing public services closer to the masses. President Uhuru Kenyatta has told the Global Open Governance Summit that the government will add more services to the systems to improve service delivery. To further improve transparency in public procurement, President Kenyatta has directed all institutions to publish details of announcements and awards of government contacts. Nairobi County is already implementing a national addressing system that will ensure civic engagement remains central to the naming and numbering of public spaces. The president's message was delivered through a video recording at this year's Open Government Partnership Global Summit hosted by President Moon Jae-in of the Republic of Korea. President Kenyatta pointed out that the Kenya's commitment to open government is reflected both at the national and county levels, noting that 4 of the country's 47 devolved units had joined the OGP initiative. The OGP Global Summits provide an opportunity for participants, including representatives of government and civil society, to exchange experiences, best practices, and progress on open government initiatives and implementations. The 2021 summit marked the 10th anniversary of OGP.
Kenya has adopted an e-citizen platform to promote wider participation for our people in government processes and development activities. This has made access to government services as well as service delivery cheaper, more inclusive, transparent, and efficient.
Other speakers at the Global Summit include US President Joe Biden, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, President Emmanuel Macron of France, and Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, among others. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Farmers in 37 counties will access farm inputs at a subsidized price following extension of the e-voucher input subsidy program after a successful pilot of the program in 12 counties. The e-voucher system has broadened by a range of inputs available for farmers to include basil and top dressing fertilizers, lime certified seeds and agrochemicals. As Regina Manyara narrates, the Ministry of Agriculture plans to include soil testing and financial services in the e-voucher system.
The National Value Chain Support Program was initially piloted in 12 counties, involving 4 value chain crops such as Irish potatoes, maize, rice and coffee, with the aim of increasing productivity of smallholder farmers by supporting them with a wide range of subsidized inputs through an electronic-based input management system.
Ni muhimu zaidi kabisa tuboreshe taaluma zetu, wakulima watumie teknolojia za kisasa, na wakulima pia wawe na ufahamu na kile kilimo, na kwa hivyo pia inabidi tuboreshe upande wa wale extension workers.
The e-voucher system begins with farmer registration that captures the farmer's biodata and transmits it to the Ministry of Agriculture servers at Kal Road, Nairobi. Upon verification, farmers then receive e-voucher messages bearing unique codes which they take to the agro dealers to begin the e-voucher redemption process. The system then automatically deducts 60% of the input cost, triggering a 40% top-up from the ministry's till number.
Ndio maana tumekuja kuzungumza na ndugu zetu wa county ndio waweze kutusaidia kuwafikia wale wakulima.
Meru, Nyandarua and Nandi are among the additional counties to benefit from the program. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Nearly half of Kenyan households defaulted or delayed in their loans repayment in the past 1 year due to financial challenges. This is according to a survey by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and the Central Bank of Kenya, which indicates that 14% of households requested for moratorium to service their loans as they directed their cash to food.
More than half of mobile banking borrowers defaulted repayments, with digital lenders also recording increased non-performing loans in the past 1 year. According to a survey by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and the Central Bank, most Kenyans restricted their expenditure to purchase food, even as food vulnerability increased over the same period. 14% of households requested the financial institutions to restructure their loans due to liquidity challenges, with 77% of the requests approved.
We noticed that debt distress is a major challenge that affected consumers in 2021. Again, not very surprisingly, given the fact that we still have an ongoing pandemic, with about 10.7% of borrowers completely defaulting.
According to the study, the number of Kenyans accessing loans from multiple lenders grew 1.6% in the 2 years to 2021 as the loan appetite increased.
Issues of financial literacy, for instance, and consumer protection, transparency in pricing of financial products, resolving challenges, and concerns about household indebtedness are becoming topical.
Even as financial inclusion expanded to 83.7% from 82.9% in 2019, a majority of those aged between 18 to 25 were not able to access financial services due to lack of identification cards.
If then this group does not have IDs, are they able then to access some of the services that we need for inclusion? And that is actually something that we can dig in.
However, fewer people are now engaging in gambling as a source of livelihoods, with the average amount used for betting reducing to 939 shillings in 2021 compared to 2,559 shillings in 2019.
Betting should be left to adults, and we shouldn't allow children to get involved, just as alcohol is for adults.
Benson Droba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, the government has assured the local auto industry of a market for vehicles provided they arm production to meet the growing demand in the country. Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina says vehicle assemblers are only working at 30% production capacity, which is below par, and her ministry is keen to prioritize support and incentives to enhance their competitiveness. You can find this story and others on our website at kbc.co.ke. Coming up next is the Forex market report, and later on the NSE to see how the shares have been trading against, or rather have been performing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Later on, Karen Kibet will be coming up with a sports update.
The auto industry in Kenya has the capacity to produce over 34,000 vehicles annually, which is enough to satisfy the local vehicle demand. However, the assembly plants are currently making 10,000 vehicles in what is blamed on low demand for new vehicles and a high appetite among Kenyans to import second-hand vehicles. To address this, Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina is assuring the auto industry of support, provided they reciprocate by investing in full automotive manufacturing plants.
So the more we buy from each other, the more we reduce demand for imported products, because we have trust that Kenya's products meet the right quality and meet us at the right price point.
She further says efforts by various industry players need to be bolstered towards reviving the manufacturing sector in Kenya in order to move it away from an over-reliance on imports.
You have adopted the framework that would help us eliminate used vehicles in Kenya in that sliding framework. We have also created a market for you through the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya policy.
The assemblers have committed to ensure production of high-quality motor vehicles, as well as creating more jobs and value in Kenya.
We have a well-equipped workshops, trained staff with latest technology, technicians who regularly receive specialized training.
Reporting for Prime Edition, my name is Hibak Said.
Thank you for keeping it KBC Primetime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. Now, in 2 months' time, Athletics Kenya will release a report on concerns raised by athletes during the Federation's consultative forums that were held across the country. This was revealed by the AK President, Retired General Jackson Tuwei, during a press briefing that was held in Nairobi.
More than 2,600 athletes took part in the just concluded athletics consultative forums across the country. According to AK President, the forums, which were held in 15 different regions, were attended by 1,916 male athletes and 736 female and 269 coaches. Tuwei revealed that the views raised during the forums are being compiled in the final report, which is expected to be released within 2 months and will help in the Federation in implementing policies in an effort to curb vices, among them abuse of athletes, as well as improving athletes' welfare.
We are in the process of streamlining the same to ensure that all athletes have fair and timely access to these letters free of charge. We look forward to more collaboration with athletics stakeholders as we right the wrongs of the sector while perfecting our strong suits.
Meanwhile, 100 meters African record holder Ferdinand Omanyala has said he will attempt the world record of 9.58 seconds, currently held by Usain Bolt of Jamaica.
And I also like to ask Athletics Kenya to put more events, because I learned this year that competition is the best training. You compete more, every time you compete you get better.
Omanyala will take part in the World Indoor Championship set to be held in Belgrade, Serbia from 11th to the 10th March next year in the 60 meters race, which will be a culmination for his indoor events before returning to his specialization of 100 meters race ahead of the new season set to begin in May. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya will be represented by only one swimmer, Rizwan Mohammed, at the World Swimming Championship set to begin tomorrow at Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Mohammed will take part in the 100 and 200-meter freestyle events. Danilo Rosfilio was expected to compete in the 6-day competition but withdrew after testing positive for COVID-19. Mohammed's coach Fakri Mansour says the swimmer will use the event as preparation for next year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England. The championships, which were originally scheduled to be held last year, were postponed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Just shatters it.
Moving on, Kenya is set to host the 2021 World Tong Il-Mudu Open Championship, which has attracted 25 countries from across the world. Teams from Turkey, Philippines and Thailand have already arrived in Kenya, ready to take part in the event set to be held at the Aga Khan Multipurpose Hall in Mombasa on 18th and 19th of this month. Other countries expected to take part include Brazil, Japan, Congo-Brazzaville, South Korea, Zambia, Iran and hosts Kenya. The event will be graced by founder of Tong Il-Mudu, Great Grandmaster John Ho Suk, and World Tong Il-Mudu Federation President Takamitsu Hoshiko.
Teams of both men and women, young and old, and we hope that the competition is going to be highly competitive due to the fact that we have increased number of players, both foreign and local. And of course, that is what we want as World Tong Il-Mudu Federation and country.
Timu yangu tukikamp, maandalizi yamekuwa mazuri kulingana na support yenye tumepata kutoka kwa federation na serikali kupitia kwa Wizara ya Michezo.
Premier League giants Gor Mahia and FC Leopards today unboxed their new home and away training kits at Camp Toyoyo grounds. The two clubs will, for the rest of the season, step onto the field in new kits sponsored by BetSafe and designed to reflect their rich heritage.
Kenya Premier League giants Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards will wear new kits sponsored by BetSafe for the rest of the 2021-2022 season. Gor Mahia will don their traditional green while the Leopards will continue with their brilliant blue and white color scheme, both retaining the visual hallmarks of their respective clubs. The early Christmas present was handed over to the clubs by BetSafe, who assured the teams of their support as they battled it out for the rest of the season and beyond.
I know this year is a bit tough, but hang in there. Play for the shirt, play for the teams, play for yourselves, play for your families, and you'll get the result. We are behind you in every single way, and we are looking forward to the end of this season and the years to come as we build this partnership together.
BetSafe is also looking to renegotiate the terms of the sponsorship that were changed earlier in 2021 due to the difficult economic climate occasioned by the global COVID-19 pandemic.
Last year we witnessed a final between the two teams in the cup competition, and I want to give you assurances again that we as Gor Mahia, at least, let me speak for ourselves, will always put our best foot forward.
Kogalo will take to the field in their new kits for the first time on Saturday against Kakamega Homeboys, while the Leopards will leave the den to face Talanta on the same day.
I know when people outside think that inside is very rosy, it will be very prudent if the government of Kenya today decided to say that football, being the mass game in this country or worldwide all over, they need to invest. Let us invest in football first and foremost.
Gor topped the table on 18 points while Leopards are 13th, 10 points behind.
And finally, Kevin De Bruyne's double helped Manchester City cruise over Leeds United in a 7-0 drubbing last night that saw them extend their lead at the English Premier League summit to 4 points. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich thrashed Stuttgart 5-0 in the German Bundesliga last night at the Mercedes-Benz Arena.
De Bruyne once again produced a top-shelf performance as he guided Manchester City to a 7-0 rout over shambolic Leeds United in their English Premier League encounter last night at the Etihad Stadium.
City all over. De Bruyne, plenty of time, plenty of room. Players queuing up. Laporte, Stones, Meslier makes 2 saves. The delivery from Foden, the header from Ake.
Elsewhere, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa beat a Bellegarde Norwich 2-0 to move to 9th in the log.
Away from Gilmour, and he cuts into the penalty area here, the teenager, across the face of goal!
In the German Bundesliga, Serge Gnabry's hat-trick saw Bayern Munich extend their winning run with a 5-0 away to Stuttgart. Mainz overcome Hertha Berlin 4-0, Bochum lost 2-0 to Arminia Bielefeld, while Cologne won 3-2 away at Wolfsburg. Tonight, Brighton will host Wolves, Burnley will take on Watford, Crystal Palace will play at home against Southampton, while West Ham will travel away to Arsenal.
And that's all we had for you tonight. Do have yourself a peaceful night. My name is Karen Kibet, but the broadcast is not yet over, as I do hand you back to Kioria for more.
Time for us to put a cap on Prime Edition tonight. Many thanks for those of you that are watching us live, audio set as well as on Facebook. Many thanks to you. But of course, beginning Wednesday, you know what happens after this? Reggae. Good time. It's time for me to put an end to this one. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Have yourself a good night. My sign language interpreter tonight was Lensa Odinga. See you Sunday.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.